trying to not be worried about where you're going next. Enjoy every single second of, what you have right now. I think I've found myself sometimes like, I want to go here and play for this team, or, once I get there, then I'll be who I want to be, or who be happy, finally. And, I've had the most fun of my life, playing summer hockey for random teams, or youth hockey with your buddies, or, it's not all about, playing in the NHL one day. It's about, the people and the journey that you take that, gets you here. And, even when you're at the peak of, the hockey world, you still wish you were, 15 years old playing with your buddies in a high school hockey game.
Pass the torch, man. Keeps getting better.
Jake Oettinger, welcome to the podcast. Thanks for joining, man. We're in your hometown here in Dallas, but excited to have you on.
Yeah. Thanks for having me, guys.
So we're going to talk today about your journey from childhood to where you are now with the Dallas Stars. But so it all started, you grew up in Minnesota, right? And were you one of those kids that skated before you could walk?
No, honestly, I started actually doing like figure skating growing up, and my mom was like a huge hockey fan for some reason. So she got me and my brother in figure skating to just like learn how to skate. And then kind of from there, it was like a natural progression.
That's incredible. So at what age did you finally pick up a stick?
I think around like 5 or 6.
And was it right to the goalie position?
No, I was actually kind of a late goalie. The kid on my team was, super good at goalie, and he got pulled up to play for an older team, and they were like, "Hey, who wants to jump in there?" And I kind of like find myself like if the goalie was scrambling or something, I'd find myself like going behind him trying to like basically play goalie. So I think my mom was like, "Hey, like you should try it." And
That's
obviously, yeah, I'm here now.
Yeah, now you're here in the NHL playing goalie. That's hilarious. I would have figured though a figure skater would play a position that skates, but that's a hilarious background story. I didn't know that.
Yeah.
And so growing up, you obviously had a successful childhood, but what made you want to pick BU? So I know you actually played for the U.S. development team, right? And you actually played a game against BU.
Yeah.
But what was your reasoning for picking BU?
Yeah. So growing up, I actually was a huge Minnesota Gopher hockey fan, and that was kind of where I like always saw myself going. My mom is a U of M alum, and I didn't have the opportunity to go there, never recruited me or anything like that. And the main reason I went to the program was because I wanted to get a college scholarship, and I think when you go out there, you see what else is out there in the world. And I think Minnesota kids are so like St. Cloud, Minnesota, Duluth, there's so much good hockey there, but you don't really get to see the kind of what the kids from out east get to see. So I had 4 teammates that were BU commits, and went on my visit there and fell in love with the coaching staff and the campus and the city and stuff, and it was one of the best decisions in my life.
Did you ever have the option, or not option, did you ever have the opportunity to play against Minnesota while you were at BU and kind of approve it to the coaching staff?
I didn't know. I wish I would have. That's one thing I wish I could have done, is at least maybe gone back and played. I got to play at Mankato, which was kind of fun, but
nice.
Never got to play the Gophers. So
yeah, and so you obviously had a super successful college career. I think you started as a freshman. In your 3rd year, I think you won MVP of the Hockey East tournament, and you guys won the title that year. So I guess just what do you attribute to your early success as a goalie? I mean, you were obviously a late bloomer, starting the position late, but what was your key to success early on?
Yeah, I think it's crazy. I've talked to my dad a lot about just kind of like my journey and all the things that kind of had to come together at the right time for me to, the path that I went on was kind of a lot of people kind of getting out of my way, in order for me to get to these positions, and like without even them knowing, you know what I mean? Like a lot of, things had to go for me to go to Lakeville, and then from Lakeville to the program and program to BU is all kind of, it seems like, fate. And as far as the hockey goes, I think, I was just surrounded by great coaches, and I had a lot of people that believed in me, and my family, from day one has been unbelievable to me. And, to be a 15-year-old kid and, to move away from home and move away from all your buddies and, all the sacrifices that I made, like, not going to prom or homecoming or, living a normal high school kid life is, those are all the things that you kind of put aside in order to chase your dream. And, I definitely sacrifice a lot of stuff, but, I'm definitely reaping the rewards.
Yeah, I think it's all worth it. And so before recording too, we mentioned that we played with Charlie McAvoy, right?
Yeah.
So what was that like? What was he like as a teammate at BU? Because obviously he's with the Bruins now. He stayed in Boston, but we know Charlie has been on the podcast before. But what was he like as a teammate at BU?
Yeah, he was unreal. I mean, he was a sophomore when I was a freshman, and just took such good care of us. And I mean, anyone that knows Charlie knows how good of a person he is. And He was always the guy that, wanted to get the boys together all the time and was kind of leading the charge, to get the group together and stuff. And I think that's why we had so much success too at BU, is just how close of a group of guys we had. And, he was definitely kind of leading the charge in that pack.
Yeah, he's like a glue guy, but when you say glue guy, it has a negative connotation.
Yeah.
He's a glue guy that's like actually a
like
stud.
The best player ever, but a glue guy too.
Exactly.
So.
And so now getting to your NHL career. So you have a very unique NHL debut, right?
Mm-hmm.
You had your first game actually playing on the ice in the Stanley Cup playoffs.
Yeah.
And was that in the bubble?
Yeah, it was.
Yeah. So what was that moment like? I think it was in the third period, and they were switching goalies because it was a tough first few periods for Khudobin. But were you expecting to go in at all that series, and what was that moment like for you?
Yeah, it was such a whirlwind. Like I going into the whole bubble experience, I didn't even expect to like dress or anything. I just thought, I was going to be the third goalie. And then obviously, Bish kind of went down with an injury, and, next thing I know, I'm on the bench and I'm one injury away from, going in and being the guy. So I just remember our coach at the time, Rick Bowness, I kind of, as a backup, you can kind of feel like, hey, I might be going in or that type of stuff. And it was kind of, my heart rate was going up a little bit with like every goal. And then when he walked in the tunnel, kind of tapped me on the pads. He's like, hey, you're going. And I'm just like, holy crap. Like I basically have 15 now that's intermission. I have like 15 minutes to get ready for, obviously the biggest thing I've ever done in hockey. And, I just knew like, all my family, friends, everyone was going to be watching and cheering me on and stuff. And just wanted to, go out there and have fun and not try to, let nerves get in the way of anything. And, I knew I could play at that level and had been practicing with those guys, for a couple of months. So just wanted to put my best foot forward. And I think I only had like 4 or 5 shots. So it wasn't anything crazy. So it was a good first taste.
Yeah, I feel like at that moment when the coach tells you you're going in the playoffs, like you just got to black out at that
point.
Literally.
Yeah. It helped there was no fans or anything. So it was a little kind of tamer atmosphere.
Right.
So
I feel like that can be awkward though with the whole bubble with
no
fans. That's a weird situation.
Mm-hmm.
So obviously the following season, you're on the Dallas Stars and you're playing a little bit of a backup role.
Mm-hmm.
But then you started to play a lot more. But what was your relationship? You mentioned Bish, so Ben Bishop and Anton Khudobin. What was your relationship with those tenders? Was it good? Were they teaching you things along the way as you were kind of in that backup role?
Yeah, totally. I think, just based off like language and that type of stuff, I obviously kind of gravitated more towards Bish a little bit. And, even to this day, I think, I feel like he sees a lot of himself in me, and he's taken such like a special interest in me, which is, if you told me that when I was 14, that Ben Bishop would be, texting me after games and calling me all the time and checking in on me and stuff is pretty crazy. And, I think he just, genuinely, cares about me and wants me to, be my best version of myself. And, so I developed a great relationship with him, and, just the similarities too in the way we play. I think I can, take so much of what he did well and put it into my game. And then I think from Dobie, I just, respect so much the effort that he put forward in that playoff run. I mean, I've never seen a guy, leave it all on the ice like that. And he, gave it everything he had and stepped up, in an opportunity. And I think, I've learned also like professional hockey or sports in general, like you that's when you can make a name for yourself, is when you get that opportunity. And, you only know how many, you don't know how many of those you're going to get. So, he did unbelievable. And I learned just, how much he battles and works for, how well he did. And so I've definitely, learned a lot from both those guys, and, something I hopefully, will take with me the rest of my career.
Yeah, it's probably a little bit of a pinch yourself moment, right? As a goalie growing up, and now Ben Bishop's on your team teaching you the way. Yeah. That's got to be a cool feeling. And so that next season, 2020 or 2021, you started like 10 games in the AHL, right? So going back down to that level, kind of what did that do for your mindset? Did it motivate you?
Yeah, that was tough. I remember I can like still picture it in my head when I was driving in my car and I saw like on social media that we had just signed Braden Holtby, and my heart just like dropped and kind of just could see the writing on the wall a little bit that they're going to have me go back down. And I think for me, it just, first of all, it just shows you how big of a business it is. And, your job's never guaranteed, and there's always someone coming for your job. And I think going down there was, good for me. It was, the coach was like, hey, you're going to play a ton. And I played pretty much every game when I was down there. And like I said earlier, I think, I knew I was going to hopefully get an opportunity to come back up. And, I don't know what the circumstance was going to be. I think the reason I came up was because Holtby was hurt, and I tell this story all the time, but he, when I got called up, they were like, hey, just pack for 2 days. Like Holtz is kind of day to day, and I packed for 2 days, and I never went back to Austin after that. So it's crazy how the opportunities come, and you got to make the most of it.
Yeah, give me chills a little bit. And so you come back that season, you were almost the clear number one guy.
Mm-hmm.
And so you guys go to the playoffs, and you guys are playing the Flames, and you have this great series.
Mm-hmm.
And in Game 7, to cap it off, you had the almost record-setting performance. I think it's the second most saves ever in a playoff game by a goal. I think it was 64, right?
Yeah.
So I mean, I was watching that game live. It was absolutely incredible. But what was that moment for you? Was that another moment like you almost blacked out, or just for you just in the zone?
Yeah, I feel like I was, I don't even know how big the moment really was, while I was in it, and just kind of, that whole series just kind of was just like, yeah, it's every other day, so you don't have a ton of time to think, but it was just kind of like, hey, I'm just, doing what I do every day, and it's just another game, and yeah, it was, crazy. I just, looking back on it still to this day, I watched like a little clip this summer and got the chills at, the moment, and for me, the biggest thing is, when you get that opportunity, you just want to put your best foot forward and give your team a chance to win. And, obviously it was, a good series, but, we still came up short, and, there's things I could have done better. And, I think it just motivates me even more now. Like, obviously the regular season is super important. You work all season to position yourself well, but then, come playoff time, it's a new season, and, you have an opportunity to, be the hero. And obviously that's, what I'm working towards this year, to give myself another chance to play in the playoffs.
Yeah, so obviously Game 7 didn't end in the way you wanted it to do. But how can you build off of that game, right? And so you've obviously had a very successful start to this season. But you're just turning, I think, 24 at the end of this month, in December. What do you think the level you can get to with your game can be?
Yeah, I feel like I'm just scratching the surface, honestly. I think, there's so much stuff that I want to get better at. And I think, goaltending's a position where you never feel like you have everything down. It's kind of like a golf swing, I feel like, is, one thing's going well, and then a week later it starts to fade a little bit. So that's like one of the things I love about goalies. You can just always be working on something, and there's always, more video or different stuff you can be trying. And, I think the thing I love about my goalie coach, Jeff Reese, is he's always pushing me no matter what. Like if I come into the rink the day after I have a shutout or the day after I get pulled, it's the same. We're doing the same stuff. And yeah, I think, for me, I really believe that, I'm not even close to where, I'll be at my peak. And, that's something that's exciting for me. And hopefully I can get there soon.
Yeah, I'm excited to watch. And so not being a hockey goalie, what is that one thing or that you do beyond the ice that makes you better? Is it more just like all reps? Are there specific workouts? But like, how do goalies become better outside of games?
I think it's everything. I think it's, the biggest thing for me this year has been just like, I feel like I have all the physical and, I've done all the work and stuff. It's just kind of like mentally, I think, how do you deal with, things not going your way, and, you can't control a lot of things on the ice. I've had games where I, didn't feel crisp, and, I didn't feel like the most prepared or great, and I had a shutout, and there's games where I'm like, yeah, I felt like I played great, and I let in 4 goals. So it's not one thing you can put your finger on, but I think that's exciting too, is, every little part of, who I am or my game I can get better at.
Yeah, and I feel like goaltending, correct me if I'm wrong, is a lot about confidence, right?
Yeah, totally. And I think for me, I just build confidence in knowing that, I do everything I can every day, I feel like, and, I kind of leave no stone unturned when it comes to, all the little stuff I can be doing. And, I find peace that if I do all that stuff, and, hopefully on the ice it'll work out for me.
Yeah, and so you've had the opportunity to play early in your career with some great veterans on the Stars team, right? So talking about Jamie Benn, Joe Pavelski, Tyler Seguin, just to name a few guys. But do you feel lucky to have been a part of a group that has such great leadership early on in your career?
Yeah, I think, I learn from those guys every single day. And, now it's pretty cool to consider those guys friends. I remember, first being, around those guys, just kind of like googly eyed and like scared, that you were going to say something that they didn't like or something, or just to have those guys as friends is really cool. And then, just to see, a guy like Pav, like, he's 38 years old or however old he is, and he still comes to the rink every day with the same passion and loves his craft and still wants to win the Stanley Cup. He's made all the money and, had all the personal accolades, and, he still wakes up every day and is, the most excited guy to be at the rink and to try to win, which is, something that, I've learned a lot, and I hopefully can take that from him.
Yeah, year 17 for Pavs. It's incredible to see. And
Mm-hmm.
you mentioned the cup. I think you guys have a very talented roster, and you can get there. So
Mm-hmm.
good luck the rest of the season. I kind of want to touch on things beyond the ice now. So
Mm-hmm.
through this interview, you've kind of broken the stereotype for me that goalies are all weirdos.
Yeah,
So
I appreciate that. Yeah, thank you.
congratulations.
Thank
Yeah.
you. I appreciate that.
But so I take it beyond the ice, you're a golf fanatic. You mentioned it's goalie position is a little bit similar to your golf swing.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, you're fully addicted to the game of golf.
Yeah, I love golf. The last few years has kind of been like where I've just been like, when I'm not thinking about hockey, I'm thinking about golf. And I'm lucky, like all my teammates, guys I've played with, like hockey players in general, it's like what you do in the summer. And I'm lucky I have a great group of friends back home too that, we are talking about it right now about next summer already, golfing and golf trips and all that type of stuff. So it's a very close second as my favorite sport.
Yeah,
Sure.
and then speaking of golf trips, I was scrolling your Instagram. I think you played Pebble Beach this summer.
Yeah, I did. I played Pebble Beach and Cyprus with my dad and my best buddy and his dad. So it was I got that from my dad for his birthday last year, and
That's unreal.
yeah, it was kind of like a thank you for helping me get to this level, and once in a lifetime trip, and it's definitely some of my favorite memories ever.
Is that probably one of your best courses that you played, or favorite courses?
My favorite course is Dallas National, for
National.
sure. Yeah, that's the best. I told my girlfriend, like, every time I drive in there, it's like I feel like it's like Christmas morning. Like, it's just the coolest place in the world. But yeah, Pebble Beach, it's every golfer's dream.
Yeah, and so not to continue to pump Pavs' tires,
Yeah.
but I think he's one of the best golfers in the entire NHL. I was at the Lake Tahoe ACC tournament with him, lost in the playoff to Romo, which was incredible to watch, that comeback. But how close are you to competing with Pavs on the course?
Yeah, he might be mad at me for saying this, but I actually spanked him in training camp pretty good. I beat him. We played at Austin Country Club over training camp, yeah, and I beat him by I think 3.
Did he give you any strokes?
No strokes, which is crazy.
Damn.
So yeah, I know. But no, normally I played like the best round of my life, like was rolling him in from everywhere and stuff. But he normally takes it to me pretty good. So
right.
that definitely felt good.
We'll have to get you at the ACC then.
Yeah, that's my number one goal, I think. Yeah, that'd be unbelievable.
Awesome. That's awesome. All right, well, I love it. I'm addicted to the game of golf as well, so we'll have to get out there.
Totally.
But rapid fire. So you can go one word, one phrase, take as long as you want.
Okay.
Who's your favorite athlete growing up as a kid?
Henrik Lundqvist.
Who's your favorite athlete to watch in current day sports?
Mm.
Are you just like strictly?
I'm gonna say no. I'm not. I'm gonna say Andrei Vasilevsky.
There you go. It's a good guy to emulate. Pre-game meal.
Albernaise in Dallas, which is like just chicken, salmon, sweet potato, pasta. It's kind of like the works.
The classics. Who's your favorite music artist right now?
Tyler Childers.
He's great. Biggest fear.
Public speaking.
It's a good one. It's a good one. Last one. What is one word that best describes you?
I'm gonna say kind.
I like it. I think that's what Wyatt Johnson used as well.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, that's funny.
All right. So we talked a lot about different themes in your career and growing up, but if you have kind of that one lesson that you've learned throughout your journey in hockey that you could pass along to the next generation to help them accomplish their dreams, what would that one lesson be?
I think the one lesson I have learned a lot and kind of been thinking about recently is just kind of like trying to not be worried about, always where you're going next, and just enjoy every single second of, what you have right now. I think I've found myself sometimes like, obviously I'm at the peak of my career right now, but even growing up, just like, oh, like I want to go here and play for this team, or, once I get there, then I'll be who I want to be, or who be happy, finally. And I think for me, like, I've had the most fun of my life, playing summer hockey for random teams, or youth hockey with your buddies, or, it's not all about, playing in the NHL one day. It's about, the people and the journey that you take that, gets you here. And I think, if obviously I've played amazing places, and I wish I could, go back and play another day for each team I played on. And it just shows you like, even when you're at the peak of, the hockey world, you still wish you were, 15 years old playing with your buddies in a high school hockey game.
Yeah, 100%. I think it's important to live in the moment, take one day at a time.
Absolutely.
But Jake, thank you so much for joining today. Good luck the rest of the season. rooting for the Stars, and excited to see your career kind of develop.
Yeah, thanks for having me. Anytime.
Of course.
It was awesome.
Unreal. Hope you guys enjoyed the show. Please subscribe to our YouTube channel if you enjoyed the content. There's plenty more Pass the Torch episodes, along with other podcasts we got going on and video series we do. So subscribe, and we'll see you later.